Hello, everyone. My name is James Reynolds, and I'm a graduate student at the Computer Science Department at CU Denver. And I'm also one of the student advisors for our 2024 Summer GenCyber Camp. Today, we're going to be going through our first Capture the Flag event from 0 to CTF. So what is cybersecurity? So when we think about cybersecurity, it helps to break it down into sort of the base terms. So we use cyber, this term cyber, to refer to the internet and its components. And these are core and edge devices. And so core devices are things like the servers that hold the data for the websites that you run or power the backends of those web applications. And edge devices are things like your mobile phones, your tablets, your desktop computers. We also use cyber to refer to computer networks and applications. So the actual fibers themselves, the networks that connect the different machines, and then also the software applications that you run. So any of the operating system applications, or maybe you do some photo editing or some video editing, any of those applications, your internet browser. We also use cyber to refer to any infrastructure that's built on top of networks. So any of the telecommunications or like railway systems, the power grid, things like that. We can also use cyber to refer to the cloud and e-vehicular networks, Internet of Things. And so these days we have e-vehicles like Teslas that get wireless updates over the internet. Internet of Things being like your smart refrigerator, your smart TV, and cloud is your Google Drive or your iCloud, things like that. And then finally, we can also use the term cyber to refer to artificial intelligence systems, and these are becoming more and more prevalent these days with the use of things like ChatGPT and Google's BERT or Gemini. So thinking about security in the cyber realm, we have a handful of sort of main security goals. And we describe these using this figure called the CIA triad. And so the CIA triad includes 3 different components, the first of which is confidentiality. And this is a term that we define as disallowing unauthorized disclosure of data. So if we have information that we don't want somebody to see, that is information that we are trying to keep confidential. Integrity is disallowing unauthorized modification of data. So if I send an email to my friend Bob, I want to make sure that the email that Bob receives is the same email that I've sent, and I don't want anybody to change that email. And then finally, availability. So this is allowing access to data by authorized entities wherever and whenever needed. So let's say that we are the people who run Facebook. We want to make sure that Facebook is always available to our users. So if they go to facebook.com and try to log in, at any point in time, we want for them to be able to access our system. And if for some reason our system is not able to be accessed, that's an impedance of availability of the system. So that's the CIA triad. And these concepts might seem a little bit complex or maybe a bit confusing, but they're actually ideas that you should already be familiar with. If you've ever sent a letter, like the one that we've got on the screen here, those same principles actually apply. And so what I mean by that is with a letter, we uphold confidentiality by the envelope being sealed. So we know that nobody has opened that envelope up and read the message. So if the envelope is sealed, we know that confidentiality has been maintained. Integrity is upheld by the wax seal. And this actually ensures that no modification of the message has actually occurred. So the envelope sort of protects the message from being read, which is confidentiality, and then the wax seal prevents somebody from opening it up and reading the message without us being aware. Because if they had done so, we would see that the wax seal had been broken. And then finally, availability. So availability, when it comes to a letter, this would actually be like possession of the letter. Like, do you have the ability to open up the letter and read it, or did somebody get a hold of it and burn it, and is it no longer available? And this could even be access to the mail carrier service, like in maybe in earlier war times when mail was really the only communication mechanism for long distance. If the mail service had been disengaged due to wartime happenings, then you wouldn't be able to get your mail. And so that's sort of, again, an impedance on the availability of that mail. And so, again, I just wanted to sort of recap and say that these ideas of confidentiality and integrity and availability are concepts that human beings have sort of embraced for a long time when it comes to sort of the security of information. When it comes to cybersecurity, we also do have a few other goals. And so the first of which is authenticity. And this is ensuring that entities are whom they claim to be. And so, if I get an email from my friend Bob, I want to make sure that it's actually Bob who I'm talking to, and it's not, somebody else. And I'm going to take a moment and just check for understanding. And I'll ask you to think just about the ideas of the letter that we were working with earlier, and what part of the letter from the previous slide confirms authenticity. And I'll give you a couple seconds to think about that. So now that you've had a couple of seconds to ponder what part of the letter from the previous slide would confirm authenticity, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that it's actually whatever emblem is sort of stamped into the wax seal. So if the king was sending his general a letter and the king's seal was an eagle, and the general received a letter from the king that had, a fox on it instead of an eagle, then the general would know that it wasn't actually the king that sent that letter, because the king's seal of the eagle wasn't on the letter. So another security goal that we have when it comes to cybersecurity is something called non-repudiation. And this is ensuring that entities cannot deny their actions. So if we run a website for a bank and we have some cyber attack where hackers get into our system and they steal $1 million, we want to be able to approach those actors or those attackers and be able to say, you did this, and we don't want them to be able to say, oh, no, we didn't. You don't have any proof. So non-repudiation ensures that those attackers can't deny that they stole that $1 million. And then finally, we also have privacy. And this gets into a little bit of a philosophical realm, but this is ensuring entities' data is shared with only of the folks that they want it to be shared with, or ensuring entities' data is shared with others only based on their preferences. And so going back to our Facebook example, if we were running Facebook, we want for, let's say, your friend was on Facebook and they posted a photo of themselves. We want for that friend to only be able to, or rather, we want for the people who are seeing the photo of that friend, the only people who can see that photo are people who the friend has elected for them to be able to see it. So if a user posts a picture of themselves, only people that they want to be able to see that picture should be able to see it. And if that's the case, then we've upheld privacy.